right, welcome back to Sip and Talk. You already know, I love my iced coffee.
Yeah.
And, I got to stay energized for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, without it, I'd probably just fall asleep looking at all this research we have.
Oh, tell me about it. Green tea for me today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Got to stay focused, and hopefully it'll keep me from misattributing any quotes or anything like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, speaking of misattributions, you are not going to believe what, started this whole deep dive for me.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, so I was scrolling online, and I saw this quote, and it was attributed to Jim Carrey.
Wait, Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura Jim Carrey?
Yes, the one and only. And it was this whole thing about influencer charity.
Okay.
And it was pretty powerful. It said something like, imagine you're struggling, you're homeless, you're at your lowest point, and then suddenly someone comes up to you and they're shoving a camera in your face.
Oh.
They're filming your struggles, they're offering you a meal just to get that moment for their followers, and you're forced to take it because you're starving.
Oh my God.
Imagine how degrading that must feel. And then it ended with stop doing this. If you want to help with genuine kindness, not for your own self-promotion.
Wow. That's deep, and it does sound a lot like something that Jim Carrey would say, right? He's always so outspoken about social issues and stuff.
Yeah, totally. But here's the thing. It's fake.
What?
It's not a real Jim Carrey quote.
Oh, my God.
I was so surprised. I was like, wait.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a bummer. It really makes you think, though, how many other so-called celebrity wisdom things are we, believing and sharing that are just completely made up?
Right. It's so easy to fall for those things, especially when it, fits their image perfectly.
Totally. It's we want to believe that the people we admire are also these amazing thinkers, even if it means giving them credit for things they never actually said.
It's that whole urban legend thing, where a story gets passed around and it keeps getting embellished until you can't even tell what's real anymore.
Totally. And now with social media, it just spreads so fast. It's like a game of telephone, but on a global scale.
Okay, so before we go too far down this whole internet fakery rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to today's main topic, which is influencer charity and the ethics of filming it all.
Yeah, that whole fake Jim Carrey thing is such a good example of how hard it can be to know what someone's real intentions are, even when they're saying they're trying to do good.
Yeah, and the fact that it resonated with so many people, that fake quote, shows that people are already skeptical of, influencer culture and their motives.
Exactly.
It's we're already primed to see the potential for exploitation.
So how do we, wade through all of that? How do we know as viewers when something's genuine and when it's just for the camera?
Right. That's the million-dollar question. And it's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We've got research articles, even some Reddit threads, all about this topic.
Oh, Reddit threads.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
I know. They're always a wild ride. But that's what makes it so interesting, right? We're going to look at all sides of this, exploring the good, the bad, and the ugly of influencer charity.
And most importantly, we want to equip you, our listener, with, ways to think critically about the content you're seeing so you can decide for yourself.
Right, because ultimately it's about all of us working together to, encourage authenticity and ethical behavior online.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. We can't just passively take in whatever we see. We need to be more thoughtful about it all.
Okay, so I got to ask, what was your first reaction when you saw that fake Jim Carrey quote? Did you, believe it?
Okay, I have to admit, I totally fell for it. It just sounded so much like him that I didn't even question it. But, I also fall for those, which Disney villain are you, quizzes, so maybe I'm not the best judge.
Okay, I get it. I do those too. I'm all about those personality tests, the ones that tell you what kind of cheese you are based on your Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Tell me you got sharp cheddar. That's what I always get.
Ooh, you know what? I got brie.
Brie.
Yeah, apparently I'm, sophisticated and funky.
Nice. Who knew? This is why I love doing these deep dives with you. We start with fake Jim Carrey quotes and end up talking about cheese.
It's a journey.
It always is.
But really, I think it says a lot about how easily misinformation can spread online, even if we fall for it just for a second.
And how quickly we jump to conclusions based on what we already think we know about someone.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder to, check your sources, especially when something seems too perfect or it just confirms what you already believe.
Totally agree.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's switch gears and talk about Keanu Reeves.
Keanu?
Yeah, another celebrity who gets misquoted all the time online, especially when it comes to those, like, really inspiring, heartwarming quotes.
He's like the internet's good guy.
Totally. Everyone wants to believe that he's out there just, like, spreading wisdom, like he's some kind of, like, modern-day philosopher.
And, he does seem like a genuinely good person.
Yeah, for sure.
But we still have to be careful about, taking everything at face value.
Always a good reminder, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
All right, so before we dive into all the viral videos and influencer stuff, let's take a sip of our beverages and get ready to go deep into the world of online charity.
Sounds good to me.
Cheers.
Cheers to critical thinking.
I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. Okay, so are we caffeinated and, like, ready to tackle this whole influencer charity thing?
Yeah, I think so. Where do we even begin? This feels kind of huge.
Right. I think it helps to remember that there's a whole range of influencer charity out there. It's not just good or bad. There are a lot of things to consider.
Yeah, it's easy to just think about the extremes, like those extreme makeover videos we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those just felt so exploitative, using vulnerable people for views.
Exactly. That's definitely, like, what not to do. But then there are people like, Isaiah Garza, who seems to be doing it with way better intentions.
Yeah, I mean, his story is so interesting. He was homeless himself, so he really gets it, And it seems like he's using his platform to talk about the bigger issues that cause homelessness, not just offering Band-Aid solutions.
Totally. Yeah, it's not just about giving money for a quick feel-good moment. He's actually talking to people, listening to them, and trying to use his platform to help them be heard.
And he's raising money for organizations that are working to fix the root causes of homelessness, like lack of affordable housing and mental health services and job training programs. So it feels like he's trying to make a real difference.
Exactly. It's about long-term solutions, not just the immediate spectacle.
So, okay, if Garza's on one side of the spectrum, where do we put those influencers who might have good intentions, but, like, their approach is maybe a little off?
The well-intentioned, but maybe not quite getting it right crew. Yeah, this is where it gets really tricky and where we really need to start asking some tough questions.
Like, is it ever okay to film someone who's in a vulnerable situation, even if you are trying to help them? Are you really respecting them?
And are you maybe even reinforcing negative stereotypes without realizing it?
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
And then it makes me think about the effect all this has on us, the viewers.
Ooh, yeah, good point. That's a whole other thing to consider.
Are we becoming, like, numb to seeing people suffer because we see it packaged as entertainment?
And are we, without meaning to, encouraging this idea that, like, doing good deeds only counts if you post it online?
Yeah, it's like social media has turned kindness into some sort of, like, currency.
Right.
Where the likes and shares are the measure of, like, how good you are.
It's kind of messed up when you really think about it. Like, if a tree falls in the forest and no one posts about it on Instagram, did it even happen?
Exactly. But seriously, are we losing sight of why we help people in the first place?
Right. It's not about the attention, but it's also true that sharing acts of kindness can have a positive impact. Like, it could inspire other people to do the same, or raise awareness, or connect people with resources they need.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential for good. It just comes down to, like, why are you doing it and how are you doing it?
Exactly. Are you using your platform to help others, or using other people to help your platform?
That's the big question, and it's something we all need to think about.
For sure.
Okay, so let's say you're an influencer and you really care about a cause. You want to use your platform to make a difference, but you also know about all these potential problems we're talking about.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to do it?
Well, I think the first thing is to do your research. Don't just jump into something because it's trendy or because you think it'll get you views.
Right. It's like, don't just show up somewhere with a camera crew and a bunch of gift cards.
Exactly.
Actually take the time to understand the issues, the organizations that are already working on it, and what the people actually need.
Yeah, and maybe instead of filming yourself giving stuff away, think about using your platform to, like, share the stories of the people who are being affected. Let them speak for themselves,
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's about empowering them, not putting yourself in the spotlight.
And if you do decide to film, make sure you get everyone's consent.
Yes. And not just a quick yes, but they really understand what it means to be filmed and what could happen if their story goes public.
And be transparent. Be honest about why you're doing it, who you're working with, and how the money is being used.
Definitely don't hide behind vague statements. Be specific about your goals, how you're doing it, and what you're accomplishing.
That kind of openness really helps build trust, which is so important right now.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the downsides of influencer charity and some tips for doing it right. But I want to go back to something we mentioned before, like the impact this is having on us as viewers.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that we're not just passively watching. We're part of this whole thing.
Right, exactly. And that means we need to think critically about what we're watching. We can't just like every feel-good video without thinking about what's behind it.
Yeah, we need to be aware of what we're taking in, what it's doing to us, and what we're supporting. Like, are we becoming numb to other people's struggles? Are we thinking that online attention equals real change? Are we accidentally reinforcing bad stereotypes?
It's a lot to think about, but it's really important. We have more power than we realize. Our views, our likes, our shares, they all feed into what gets seen and promoted online.
So it's like we're voting with our clicks.
Exactly.
We're either supporting good stuff or we're part of the problem.
And it's not always easy to tell the difference. There's a lot of gray area, but I think it starts with being aware of the problems, asking questions, and being willing to have tough conversations.
Like this one.
Yeah. We're not going to solve all the problems with influencer charity in one conversation, but hopefully we're giving you something to think about and some tools to help you navigate this whole thing.
So as viewers, what can we do to be more responsible with this kind of content?
Well, first of all, let's try to get past this idea that it's all good or all bad. You know, not every influencer who films their charity work is a bad person, and not every act of kindness that gets filmed is exploitative.
Right. It's much more complicated than that, but we need to be critical.
Yes. Don't just take things at face value. Look for signs that tell you what their real intentions are. Are they working with good organizations? Are they letting the people they're helping speak for themselves? Are they honest about how they're doing things and what they're achieving?
And if something feels off, don't be afraid to say something. Leave a comment, send a message, or even unfollow them if you think they're crossing a line.
We have a voice, and we can use it to hold influencers accountable and demand better content.
And don't forget to support the influencers who are doing it right. Share their content, spread their message, and let them know that we appreciate what they're doing.
Exactly. We can use our clicks and our voices to support authentic and impactful online charity.
Okay, we've covered so much today, and I feel like there's still a lot more to talk about.
There always is. It's a constantly changing thing.
What do you say we take another sip break and come back for part 3, where we look at some examples of influencers who are doing charity the right way?
Sounds good to me.
And maybe we can even squeeze in a quick cheese personality quiz.
You know, I'm always down for a good cheese quiz.
All right, stay tuned. Okay, welcome back to Sip and Talk. I don't know about you, but after that last segment, I was like, whoa, this is complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do you even do good online without accidentally, like, messing things up?
It is a tricky balance for sure, but there are people out there who are, you know, figuring out how to use their platforms for good in a way that feels authentic. They're not just like throwing money around or trying to get famous. They're actually doing the work to understand the issues, partnering with experts, and making sure they're empowering the people they're trying to help.
Okay, good. I was starting to think maybe genuine kindness was like extinct on the internet.
Not extinct, just maybe a little harder to find.
Sure.
But that's kind of our job, right? To like sort through all the noise and find the people who are worth listening to.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk about those people. Who's first on our list of inspiring influencers?
Well, I thought we could start with Elsa Ray. She's a fashion influencer who's all about sustainability and ethical practices in the fashion industry.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her stuff. Isn't she the one who's always wearing those amazing vintage pieces and like upcycled outfits?
Yes. She's all about challenging that whole fast fashion culture and encouraging people to be more thoughtful about what they buy.
And she actually practices what she preaches.
Yeah.
Right? I think I read somewhere that she only buys from brands that are ethical and sustainable.
Right. She's putting her money where her mouth is, which is so important. And she's not just focused on the environment. She also cares about the people involved.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing a post where she was talking about human trafficking and exploitation in the fashion industry. It was really intense.
Yeah, she works with a bunch of organizations that are fighting those issues, and she uses her platform to educate people about things like fair labor practices and transparency in the supply chain.
It's not just about looking good, it's about doing good, too.
Exactly. She's showing that you can have both, that your choices as a consumer really do matter.
That's awesome. Okay, who's next?
All right, next up we have Jay Shetty. He's a former monk who's now a motivational speaker and podcaster.
Oh, I love Jay Shetty. He's got that voice that just, like, calms you down instantly.
Haha, totally. He's all about spreading kindness and wisdom, and he does it in a way that feels so real.
And he doesn't just talk about it, he actually does stuff too, right?
Absolutely. He's always highlighting people and organizations that are making a positive impact on the world.
I remember seeing a video of him interviewing this young activist who was working on climate change. He was so engaged and genuinely interested in what she was doing.
Yeah, he's amazing at connecting with people. He's not afraid to be vulnerable and share his own struggles, which makes his message even more powerful.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like some untouchable guru. He just seems like a normal person who's trying to make things better.
And he's super transparent about his charity work. He explains exactly how donations are used and keeps everyone updated on what they're accomplishing.
I feel like that kind of transparency is so rare these days.
Yeah, especially with influencers, but it's so important for building trust.
All right, I'm loving this. Who's our last influencer role model?
Okay, last but not least, we have Dr. Julie Smith. She's a clinical psychologist who's become super popular on social media for her mental health tips.
Oh, Dr. Julie Smith. I love her videos. They're like little bursts of wisdom that you can actually use in your everyday life.
She's really passionate about making therapy more accessible, especially for people who might not be able to afford traditional therapy.
Yeah, I know she has a ton of free resources on her website, like workbooks and guided meditations.
And she partners with mental health organizations to raise awareness and money.
What I love about her is that she never seems like she's judging you. She just shares her knowledge in a way that feels really helpful and encouraging.
Right. She's not trying to be a savior or anything. She's just a human being trying to help other human beings.
And that's what makes her so great. She meets people where they are and gives them real tools to improve their mental health.
Yeah, she's a perfect example of how influencers can use their platform to make mental health less taboo and encourage people to take care of themselves.
Wow, these three influencers are amazing. They're showing that you can use social media for good, you can be successful without being shady, and you can make a real difference in the world without compromising your values.
It's all about finding that balance, being authentic, being transparent, and thinking about the impact you're having on others.
And remembering that true kindness doesn't need an audience. It's about the act itself, not the likes or the shares.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep asking the tough questions and holding each other accountable.
Yeah, let's support the creators who are doing good and challenge the ones who aren't.
And let's remember that we all have a part to play in shaping what happens online. We can choose to amplify the good stuff and use our own platforms, no matter how small, to spread positivity and kindness.
Because ultimately, we're all in this together, right? Our actions affect each other, so let's try to make those actions count.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's about it for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of influencer charity.
Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep sipping and talking.